Hey guys, it's Callie from GOB Retail, and with me, as always, we have Kyle. And we're going to be talking about what some new releases in comics this week. We're going to start with a DC title, Blue Beetle number 8. So, Blue Beetle is a series that got brought back with the Rebirth line. It is I think it's the first Blue Beetle title since 2000. I think since 2008. It's been a while since we've seen him in any real capacity. This is a newer Blue Beetle, not the one of the 90s that I know you're so fond of.
Ted Cord, I miss you.
I know. If you recently got to see the Teen Titans Judas Contract movie, it's the same Blue Beetle that you see in that one. In this particular issue, he's dealing with a lot because the Scarab has actually been ripped from him, which happened in the last issue. And he's now basically super powerless, which everyone kind of thinks is what he's wanted for a long time. But now that the Beetle's gone, he's kind of like, oh.
It's like that song, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Till it's gone, that's right. So this is a pretty, this issue is going to be finishing up a storyline. And then after that, there'll be a pretty good jumping on point. But I do highly recommend this book, just if you are interested in the dynamic of superheroes and their superpowers, of when they have them and when they don't. It's interesting to me. Next up, we have the one, the only, everyone's favorite, XO Man OWar.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, XO Man OWar has always had kind of a checkered history. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not so good. But I'll tell you, this series started off real strong with issue number 1, and it carries on. Valiant has been putting out some pretty good books, and man, does it look pretty. This is some fantastic art, and this is the second issue. It's a pretty easy story to jump into. The first issue, he was kind of pressed into service for this sort of intergalactic empire sort of thing. He proved his mettle by being the only person to get up Hamburger Hill, so to speak. Survived, killed a bunch of people, and he's generally a good fighter. So here he is now, kind of ticked off, and onward he goes.
It's always nice to see companies that aren't called DC and Marvel, take a crack at superhero books, even though a lot of them get kind of dismissed right away.
Yeah.
From just the general public. But usually, like you've said in the past, Valiant does pretty good work with superheroes.
I feel like Valiant, since 2012 with the relaunch, I think it was 2012 or 2014, they've won awards for this. And I think that it's not too much of an exaggeration to say they're putting out the best superhero books right now. Or at least the most consistent. DC is doing really good right now. Marvel has some hits, but some misses too. But this XO series looks beautiful. It's worth jumping on now. And it's fun. It's not too complicated, but man, does it look nice.
And speaking of Marvel, we have Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah.
The maybe strangest title we have now.
It's because it comes from Jack Kirby. It was Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur back in the 70s for Kirby's Marvel Renaissance. This is an update on that character. You now have Moon Girl instead of Moon Boy. But it's a little bit more of a modern context than the original title. Dr. Doom guests in this issue. But this is actually maybe one of the first all-ages titles we've talked about in this series.
On the show, yeah.
And it is a phenomenal all-ages title. Adults can enjoy it, but it's a really great title for kids. It's not too confusing. The mythos of it isn't all that exceptional, so you don't need to worry about reading those 70s things or finding an omnibus of the old Kirby stuff. You don't need to do any of that. It's a simple story that's fun.
Not to mention Roar Dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaurs. I mean, kids love that stuff. It's a good title, and it's been getting high praise for an all-ages book.
All right, up next, we have another Valiant title. We have Britannia. And specifically, We Who Are About to Die. This is a new run of Britannia. The original one was very highly acclaimed, and we still have some of it in stock if it's something that you're interested in. The original run of it was very, very well loved. And this one, I mean, were you able to flip through this one?
Yeah, I was able to flip through this one. We're dealing with some Nero, crazy Greek Emperor Nero. So there's a few stabbings in there. It's, again...
Not a family-friendly title.
Not a family-friendly title. It's another beautifully illustrated Valiant book. Valiant has consistently been paying really good artists of late. And it's written by Peter Milligan, who has been consistently writing some really wonderful stories since the 80s that I can find. British guy, he's part of that British wave, Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, and so forth. But he's been writing really good stuff for a long time. He was very noteworthy 80s indie stuff, and then he went on and wrote a bunch of stuff for Vertigo.
Cool.
But it's just a really nice series. It's nice to see it back.
All right, second back to Marvel, we have Darth Maul #3, a title that we've been waiting on coming in for a while. I feel like there was a delay in this series because we had the first issue come, and then we had like a 2-month wait on the second issue.
Was it that long?
It was. It was quite a while.
See, I just felt like it felt long because the art looked so good that I wanted more.
That could be too.
Issue 2 had that 2-page spread where Darth Maul's kicking the dude out of the bar, and that was one of the coolest, most superhero-y 2-page spreads I've seen Marvel do.
Yeah.
And it was for a Star Wars title.
Which is weird.
Is where they're essentially the most consistent, is on their Star Wars work. Here's another consistently good title.
And it's really interesting with Darth Maul obviously getting a lot of play in the Star Wars Rebels TV show right now, TV show at the moment. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on around him, and the comic is a pretty nice companion piece to that.
Yeah. And it's nice. This is, in the new canon, this is the oldest piece of lore we get. This takes place preceding Episode 1. So it's a slightly younger, impetuous, and impatient Darth Maul. He's trying to kill a Jedi without Palpatine catching wise to it. You also see Aura Singh, Cad Bane, two of my favorites, and then this little furry dude. I forget his name, but I like his species.
He's going to be in Jabba's palace at some point, it looks like.
Yeah. No, I love Cad Bane, so I'm glad to see him making his first comic appearance in new canon.
Yeah, because he was a popular guy in the EU time, but had
also
not...
Clone Wars.
And in quote...
He's so good in Clone Wars. Yeah, he was the big bounty hunter in Clone Wars.
Yes, he was. How did I forget that?
He had some of the best voice acting, too. I love that character. Anyways, I'm glad to see him back, and I'm sure the art is going to be continuously astounding in here. Cullen Bunn, guy who got popular writing X-Men, wrote that one, too.
And last but not least this week, we have Hadrian's Wall, issue #6. This is a series that's been going on now for about... this is another one that had a delay.
Yeah, I think it started in winter last year.
Yeah, it's been on kind of a slower release cycle, but it's been a really well-received title. You know anything about it?
Yeah, I picked the first issue of this one up here, actually, on a whim, because it looked like an 80s sort of comic that I would like. This is kind of a niche title, but I think it's really well written. It's a whodunit murder mystery set in a version of the future that kind of stopped in the 80s. So like a movie from the 80s, how they would have imagined the future, that's the way the future tech is in this.
Okay.
So it's like a noir whodunit.
So basically it's going to look like the ships from Alien.
Yeah, set in an 80s version of the future.
I like it.
And it's really neat. The guy who's sent to investigate is kind of a dirtbag, kind of a screw-up, and he's sent to investigate a situation that maybe he has a sort of conflict of interest, and it carries on. As the mystery unfoils, I won't spoil anything for you, but we're on 6 of 8. We're getting closer to the end. The intensity is increasing. The various webs of deceit are becoming more apparent. It's a good title. It's illustrated well, and it's written by the fellow who did Cowl, an Image series that just wrapped up a year or so ago. That was really well written.
Another whodunit, wasn't it? Cowl.
I believe so. Yeah.
And if there's one genre that Image does well, I would definitely say it's sci-fi. I look no further than Saga for proof of that.
Yep.
So definitely worth checking out. That is all we got for this week in comics, but we do want to remind you this Saturday is International Tabletop Day. We're going to be doing events and games all throughout the day, so make sure you stop on in. We'll be doing stuff, pretty much throughout the day. That's about it. So until next time, Kyle and Callie, we'll see you guys next time.
Don't forget May 6th, Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, May 6th is Free Comic Book Day. That is also very important. I don't know why I felt like that had already passed. We have a big stack of free comic books back there, so I mean, like...
Well, last year's is gone.
You're right, yes. Free Comic Book Day 2016 is over. You missed it. I'm sorry. But Free Comic Book 2017 coming up May 6th. So check it out.
See you soon.